On the day of our divorce, Zhou Yan never showed up. I sat in the cafe next to the Civil Affairs Bureau and waited 40 full minutes. My coffee went cold. The waitress refilled hot water twice. The way she looked at me shifted from sympathy to a silent girl. Don't hold out hope. Finally, only his lawyer arrived. A middle-aged man with wire-rimmed glasses, grinning like an insurance salesman. He slid the divorce papers across the table toward me. Miss Shun, Mr. Zhou has an urgent last-minute meeting. He's authorized me to handle everything on his behalf. Just sign here. I flipped through the document. Dozens of pages of empty formalities. Amicable consultation reached, based on the principles of equality and free will. Zhou Yan and I had been married 3 years, and this was the only time we'd ever been equal. He didn't even bother to come sign the divorce himself. I turned to the last page. 30,000 yuan. That was all. For 3 years of cooking all his meals, washing all his clothes, enduring his mother's endless nitpicking. All I got as severance was 30,000 yuan, barely enough to tip a beggar. Still, I signed my name. Not because I didn't care about money, but because my doctor's words echoed in my head. I had at most 6 months left to live. Pancreatic cancer, terminal stage. The day I got the diagnosis, I sat on a hospital corridor bench for 4 hours, not crying, just staring blankly. It was like mid-game when someone yanks the power cord. The screen cuts to black, and you have no idea what to do next. People streamed past me in the hallway. An elderly man carrying an insulated lunch bucket glanced at me and walked on. The cleaning lady mopped right up to my feet. I lifted my legs, then set them back down once she'd pass. That's how numb I was. Later, I came to terms with it. Only 6 months left anyway. 30,000 was fine. At least I'd get some peace and quiet. After I signed, the lawyer collected the paperwork and stood, reaching out to shake my hand. I didn't take it. Where's Zhou Yan? I asked. Mr. Zhou truly has an extremely important corporate meeting. Never mind. I grabbed my bag and walked out. The day after the divorce, Zhou Yan's mom posted a WeChat Moments update. Finally free of this family's misfortune. Thank heavens. The photo was a shot of her and Zhou, both grinning like they'd won the lottery. I hit the like button. She messaged me back instantly. What's your meeting? I replied, congratulations. She blocked me straight away. I stared at the red exclamation mark for a long time and laughed. Honestly, it felt great. Back then, I'd had to act virtuous and understanding around her, never daring to show anger. Now I didn't need to pretend anymore. I was dying after all, let her think whatever she wanted. I blew through the 30,000 yuan in the first month. First, I bought a projector, something Zhou Yan had always called a waste of money and forbidden me from getting. The day it arrived, I laid on the bed and watched 3 variety shows projected on the ceiling. Pure bliss. Then I ate at an 800 yuan per person Japanese restaurant. Zhou always said it was too expensive and promised next time, every time we passed by that I went alone. Thick-cut salmon, sweet sea urchin, ate until I was stuffed, then packed a takeaway eel rice box for later. I took a trip to Dali, sat by Arai Lake all day lost in thought with no plans at all. A young girl sketched beside me and handed me her drawing when she finished. You look so lonely, sister. I glanced at the sketch. Me sitting on a stone. Arai Lake stretching behind me, clouds hanging overhead. It was beautiful. I thanked her, and she gave the drawing to me for free. On the ride back to my hotel, I blocked every contact of Zhou's. Phone number, WeChat, Weibo, even Alipay friends list. Clean slate. Hashtag month 2. I started writing a bucket list, only managed 2 entries before hitting a wall. It wasn't sadness holding me back. 3 years married to Zhou Yan had erased all sense of what I even wanted. First line, eat a fancy meal. I crossed it out immediately. Hardly a worthwhile wish. Second line, go travel. Too vague. I stared at the blank page for half an hour with nothing to write, then gave up. On a whim, I signed up for a pole dance trial class for 99 yuan. No real reason, just passed the gym and saw the ad. The instructor was a 40-something woman from Northeast China with arms thicker than my legs. She sized me up. Girl, you look like you're here for physical therapy, not dancing. I told her, I only have 5 months left to live. Teach me whatever you've got. She froze for 3 full seconds, then clapped my shoulder. Respect. She cranked up the EDM music loud enough to rattle the wall mirrors. I twisted and flailed around like an electric eel, but she never laughed. She stood munching sunflower seeds and directed me. Stick your hips higher. Grab the pole tight. After class, she handed me a bottle of water. Coming back tomorrow? Yeah. She nodded. You've got more grit than folks half your age who are too scared to move their bodies even at 80. From then on, I went 3 times a week. Learned inversions, spins, a trick called Superman, one hand gripping the pole, body held horizontal midair, the other arm stretched forward like the superhero flying. The instructor said I picked it up fast. I told her I didn't have time to take it slow. You're an interesting one, she said, staring death in the face, and you've finally woken up to living. She was right. Back then I'd spent every day worrying if Joe was upset, if my mother-in-law disapproved, what coworkers or friends thought of me. Now, I was dying soon. Who cared what anyone thought? I dyed my hair bright red. Joe always said red highlights made me look old. Staring in the mirror afterward, I thought it looked gorgeous. Where was the aging he'd ranted about? I got piercings. 3 on my left ear, 2 on my right. His mom once claimed girls with multiple ear piercings were unruly. I shook my head and listened to the tiny metal tinkling. It sounded lovely. I got a tiny wrist tattoo of the Chinese character E, my given name Z. The tattoo artist asked about the font. I told him anything worked. The needle pricked a little, but it hurt far less than cancer or the divorce ever had. Hashtag month 3. I signed up for an open mic comedy night out of nowhere. Mid pole dance break, I sat sipping water when my instructor said I had a funny way of speaking and should try stand up. I figured why not? Death was around the corner. Embarrassment meant nothing. I found a tiny theater tucked down an alley with a tattered neon open mic signed, 20 yuan entry fee, around 30 audience members total. My hands shook backstage, not from stage fright, but fear no one would laugh. While waiting to go on, I spotted a guy behind the bar wiping glasses, black-rimmed glasses, slightly long hair tied into a tiny ponytail, faded hoodie. He glanced up. First time? Yeah. Nervous? Not really. He set down the glass and poured me a water. Don't fixate on the crowd. Pretend you're talking to a mirror. Are you the owner? Friend owns it. I help out sometimes. He held out a hand. Liu Beichen. Shunzi. Our hands brushed. His palms were cool and damp from dishwater. My turn came. Blinding stage lights blurred the audience's faces into dark shadows. I gripped the microphone. Good evening, everyone. I'm Shunzi, a recently divorced ex-wife. A few chuckles rippled through the crowd. I finalized the divorce last month. My ex-husband never showed up, sent his lawyer instead, with 30,000 yuan as compensation. The room went quiet for a beat. 30,000 yuan is exactly the price of one watch he owns, a Patek Philippe. I went with him to buy it and swiped my credit card. He said he'd pay me back next month and never did. More laughter bubbled up. I went on about my mother-in's snarky moments post, hitting like button, then getting blocked, my red hair and new piercings, the pole dance instructor teasing me for writhing like a shocked loach. The audience laughed louder and louder. People ask if I hate my ex. I paused. I used to, but hating someone's exhausting. Hate means clinging to every memory of them, which stops me from living my own life. So I decided to let the hatred go. Silence fell over the room. All I'm focused on now is blowing through those 30,000 yuan and blowing them well. Warm applause erupted as I finished. When I walked off stage, Liu Beichen leaned against the bar smiling. That went great. Really? Especially that line about spending every cent of that 30 grand could be your tagline. He handed me a tissue to wipe sweat off my forehead. That night, 17 people sent friend requests to my WeChat, including him. His message popped up. You coming next week? I replied, yep. He followed up, I'll treat you to our house special coffee on the house. I asked what the special was. He sent a photo of a latte with a cat drawn on the foam flipping the middle finger, captioned to hell with everything. I laughed. This guy was fun. Hashtag the call. I was hanging out at Liu Beichen's cafe when my phone buzzed with an unknown number. Is this Ms. Shunzi? This is Runha Hospital Pathology Department. I froze mid-sip of coffee. This is she. We sincerely apologize. After rechecking your test results from 3 months ago, we confirmed there was a mix-up with specimen labeling. What does that mean? You do not have pancreatic cancer. Your diagnosis was a misdiagnosis. A formal correction letter has been mailed via EMS and should arrive in 2 days. Wait, where was it sent? The emergency contact address you listed on your medical file. My blood ran cold. I'd forgotten to update it after the divorce. It was Zhou Yan's office address. Who's the recipient listed? Mr. Zhou Yan. I hung up the phone numbly. Liu Beichen set down the glass he'd been wiping and pulled a chair across from me. What's wrong? I'm not dying after all. That's wonderful news. But the correction letter's been sent to Zhou Yan's office. He stared blankly for 2 seconds before quiet snickers shook his shoulders. I can't wait to see his face when he opens that envelope. He grabbed a small chalkboard behind the counter, erased the old daily special, and scrawled a new line. Ex-husband's texts. Read and ignore. He turned the board toward me. This drink's free today. My phone vibrated nonstop after that. 3 missed calls from unfamiliar numbers. I ignored them that a 4th call came in from a number I recognized. Zhou Yan, still no answer. A minute later, a text popped up. *Z, I received the letter. Where are you? I need to see you. *. I passed the phone to Liu Beichen. What do you want to reply? I typed 2 words and hit send. Not here. Another text arrived seconds later. I was wrong. Liu glanced at the screen. 3 measly words, worth more than your 30 grand settlement. How should I answer him? Don't reply at all. He grabbed a mug, brewed me a new latte with the flipping cat foam art, and slid it over. This one's my reply for you. I took a sip, and tears suddenly streamed down my face. Not for Zhou Yan did I cried, because I wasn't going to die after all. For 3 full months, I'd lived every day knowing my time was limited, only to find out it was all a mistake, that I didn't know whether to laugh or weep. Liu Beichen didn't say a word, just pushed a box of tissues toward me and kept washing cups quietly. After I dried my eyes, Liu Beichen. Thanks for telling me I had to come perform that first open mic night, even if I only had months left. He paused, thinking back. Did I say that? You did. Guess it made sense at the time, he shrugged, going back to cleaning glassware. The coffee tasted warm and smooth as I sipped it. Zhou Yan spent 3 days blowing on my phone. I counted 47 calls the first day, all ignored. The second day, he texted from 6 different numbers, ranging from begging, I'm sorry, to pleading, pick up the phone. No replies from me. On day 3, he tracked down my best friend Lin Mian to ask for my whereabouts. Lin sent me screenshots of their chat, with her reply, sure, secretly meaning I'd never tell him where I was. My girl group chat blew up with excitement. Xiaolu, is he losing his mind? Aining. Now he remembers you after you spent all that 30 grand? Pomelo, tell him to get lost. Even my mom, who rarely chatted in the group, sent a message. Honey, I'll set you up with someone way better. I screenshot the whole thread and posted it to my Moments with the caption Today's Joy, racking up 37 likes. One comment caught my eye. Your former mother-in-law's blowing a fuse in the comment section under your stand-up clip. I clicked the link. Zhou Yan's mom had left a comment under my open mic video claiming everything I'd said was fabricated. 200 plus replies mocked her. Why are you getting defensive if it's all lies? So you're the lady who paid your daughter-in-law 30 grand and called it a settlement? She never named names, yet you rushed to claim the stories about you. Says it all. She kept firing retorts until the platform deleted her comment, but someone captured a screenshot of her line. She lived off our food and shelter all 3 years. I stared at the screenshot, completely unfazed. I'd cooked every meal, cleaned every piece of laundry, waited on her hand and foot for 3 years, and all I amounted to was a leech in her eyes. No anger stirred inside me. It felt like watching a stranger's drama unfold. I sent the screenshot to Liu Beichen. He texted back instantly. Your ex-mother-in-law's writing skills can't compare to yours. I laughed. He sent another message. There's a stand-up contest tomorrow night with a 5,000 yuan grand prize. Want to join? Count me in. Get an early night then. Don't waste energy on fools. I'm not wasting energy. Screenshots saved says otherwise. I put my phone away and slept soundly that night. Hashtag contest night. Zhou Yan showed up at the venue. I had no clue how he tracked it down. Probably badgered a mutual acquaintance. He sat dead center in the 3rd row, crisp dark gray suit and the tie I'd picked out for him, glaringly out of place among the casual crowd. He spotted me, and I spotted him too. I held the microphone and addressed the crowd. We've got an old acquaintance here tonight. All heads swiveled toward him. My ex-husband. Catcalls and teasing whoops filled the room. Don't worry, he's not here to reconcile. He's just here to confirm something. I recounted the misdiagnosis story on stage, explaining how he'd handed me 30,000 yuan and washed his hands of me once he thought I was terminally ill. Laughter erupted when I revealed the hospital correction letter had been sent to his office, and he'd only come chasing me once he knew I was healthy again. His face flushed white, then beet red, then a sickly green. He's probably wondering if he can get that 30,000 back. I joked, and the crowd roared louder. I listed every expense I'd covered with the money. 8,000 yuan projector, 800 fine dining, 2,000 dollar plane tickets, 3,000 pole dance lessons, hair dye, piercings, tattoo ink, down to small coffee purchases. A man in the audience shouted, "Itemized expense report." The hall erupted in laughter. People ask if I hate him. I said calmly, "I don't anymore. Hatred's draining, but I'll never forgive him either. It's not just about the paltry 30 grand. Those 3 months, I thought I was dying. I lay awake every night worrying how my mom would cope without me. I couldn't even draft a bucket list because 3 years married to him had erased every single thing I once wanted. I'd forgotten my favorite foods, dream destinations, even how to crack a joke. I turned myself into nothing more than Mrs. Zhou instead of Shinzi. Applause rippled out, growing into a thunderous roar. Zhou stared at the floor, head hung low. After my set, I found Liu Beichun waiting backstage with a bag of roasted chestnuts. That went well. It was okay. Only one line missing at the end. What line? You could have said I spent that 30 grand learning pole dancing. Can do full splits now. Want to see? I stuffed a chestnut in his mouth to shut him up. I took 3rd place, winning a 2,000 yuan consolation prize. 1st place went to a comedian doing blind date skits. 2nd to a man ranting about his boss. Zhou Yan cornered me backstage as I packed my things. Z. His voice still had that low husky tone I once found attractive, now sounding as grating as an old air conditioner hum. What do you want? I need to talk to you. About what? The 30,000. I can give you more. Double. 10 times as much. I cut him off. If I'd really had terminal cancer 6 months left to live, would you be standing here begging to talk to me today? He parted his lips but couldn't utter a single word. He knew the answer was no. He'd already made his choice 3 months prior. I grabbed my bag to leave, dodging his reaching hand. Zhou Yan, every cent of that 30 grand spent. I don't owe you money, and I don't owe you anything else either. I walked out to find Liu leaning against the hallway wall, chestnut still in hand. Watch the drama enough? Fairly entertaining, he said, handing me the bag. Your closing line was good. Just needed a callback with a pole split joke. That night, Zhou Yan sent a long text message. I read it twice, just to count the 27 times he used the pronoun I, all centered around his own sadness and regret. I screenshot it and sent it to Liu. He replied, lots of words, single core message. He's miserable and wants you to comfort him. Spot on summary. You gonna block him yet? I hit block right then and there. Hashtag the next few weeks. I spent every day at Liu's cafe, waiting tables by day and hosting open mic at night. He didn't pay me a salary, but coffee and roasted chestnuts were unlimited. He bought 3 bags a week, ate half, left the rest for me. You were a squirrel in a past life, I teased. Mind your own business, he said, peeling another chestnut. By the way, you thought about doing your own solo comedy show? Solo show. The 30 grand set you've built, you've got an hour's worth of material now. Will anyone come? The cafe seats 50 people. We can fill it easily. What ticket price should I set? 30 yuan, I decided. Cheap, to thank regular audience members. Liu shot me a glance. You really don't grasp money's value, do you? 50 seats times 30's only 1,500, minus venue costs. Barely 1,000 left for you. Doesn't matter to me. He smiled and agreed to my price, then hand-drew the promotional poster himself. A woman feeding a stack of cash into a paper shredder, the confetti forming the single word freedom. I thought it was too abstract. He insisted it was art. My mom insisted on flying in for the show, no matter how I told her it was just a tiny local gig. My daughter's first solo performance. I can't miss it. My pole dance instructor also promised to bring her whole class of students as my cheering squad, threatening anyone who didn't laugh extra hard during my set. Show night arrived. MY Mom sat front row waving a pink glow stick she dug up somewhere. The dance instructor and her athletic students filled the left side of the room. Liu stood behind the bar in a plain black tee, his ponytail tied neatly. He handed me a latte before I went on. The foam cat flipping the bird, labeled house special. Drink up before you go on stage. It tasted sweet. My 50-minute set covered the divorce, the 30 grand settlement, the false cancer diagnosis, Zhou chasing me to the contest, and that 27I text of his. The crowd laughed nonstop the whole time. MY Mom slapped her thigh, cackling so hard she nearly choked. The dance teacher's students all roared along. I wrapped up the show with a heartfelt closing line. Don't wait until you're on your deathbed to start living. The room erupted in deafening applause. When I glanced toward the bar, Liu was standing there grinning and clapping for me. After the show, he brought over a new coffee creation named after me. 3 parts bitter, 5 parts sweet, 2 parts sharp spice. That's exactly who you are, he said, and I sipped it and nodded. Liu Beichun, thank you for telling me I had to come perform that night all those months ago. He smiled softly and said he'd only spoken the truth. Someone filmed the closing monologue and uploaded it online without my knowledge. Within 3 days, it hit 500,000 views. Top comments flooded the thread. Divorced 3 months, walked away from her ex's world, and found someone who actually stops to stay for her. Straight out of a novel. Zoom in on the bartender staring at her. Anyone with eyes can see how he feels. 30 grand can't buy back Shinzi. Only a lifetime of regret for him. Zhou Yan's mom left a comment that got deleted quickly, but screenshots circulated repeating her old line about me living off their food and shelter, drawing thousands of mocking replies. I read every comment calmly, feeling nothing more than watching a stranger's drama unfold. Lu peeked over my shoulder from behind the bar and joked her writing couldn't compete with mine. He made another coffee, this time the foam cat curled up asleep, labeled ignore fools. Zhou Yan tracked me down once more with a new phone number. I answered the call. Did you see that online video? I did. The guy behind the bar, is that Liu Beichen? It is. Does he treat you well? Better than I did. I sighed. When you ask if he's better, you're still judging everything by your own standards. Whether he's good to me has nothing to do with you. Z. I'm signing a prenuptial agreement with him. He fell silent, stunned. You're getting married? You've only known him 4 months. I retorted, I was married to you for 3 whole years, and look how that turned out. 4 months is more than enough time to know he'd never hand me 30 grand and send me packing if I was terminally ill and I hung up the phone. Back at the cafe, Lu laid the drafted prenuptial agreement across the table for me to read. 1. Shunzi never has to do anything she dislikes. 2. Shunzi can change her mind at any point, no consequences. 3. If Shunzi wants to terminate this engagement someday, the cafe fully belongs to her. 4. All clauses permanent. Final interpretation right reserved for Shinzi. I laughed reading it. This contract's practically meaningless. Exactly, he said, handing me a pen. I write it down so you can see I won't go back on my word. I signed first, then he added his signature and scrawled an addendum on the back. Bonus clause. The cafe's signature cat latte art belongs exclusively to Shinzi from now on. There's no cat in the cafe, I pointed out. He nodded at the coffee foam drawing. This cat's yours only. I folded the agreement and tucked it in my bag, finishing the last sip of my 3 bitter 5 sweet 2 spice coffee. Hashtag Zhou Yan's mother visits. Zhou Yan tracked the cafe down in person one afternoon while I was practicing latte art with Lu guiding my wrists from beside him. The bell jingled and he walked in his press suit and matching tie, completely out of place amid the casual cafe vibe. He spotted us standing close together and froze. I need to talk to Z alone, he told Lu. Lu glanced at me. Ask her if she's willing. I shook my head. There's nothing left to discuss. Z, please. Go home. I cut him off. He stood frozen, lips moving to speak, then dropped a bombshell I never expected. My mom's been diagnosed with breast cancer. I fell silent for a moment. So, you came here hoping I'd go visit her? He couldn't find a reply. A bitter laugh escaped me. 3 months ago, I was told I had terminal cancer, and you brushed me off with 30,000 yuan. Now your mom's sick, and you come begging me to care for her. What exactly do you expect from me? His face paled. Lu picked up a mug, poured a latte with a flipping cat foam, and set it in front of Zhou Yan. This one's on the house, Mr. Zhou. Zhou refused to take the drink. Lu gestured toward the door. If you won't drink it, please leave. He lingered a minute, then walked out. Lu turned back to me. You all right? Aye, fine. He took the milk jug from my hands and said my wrist was still too stiff for latte art, making me practice again. I grinned and teased him about his overly polite way of sending people off with coffee instead of harsh words. I run a cafe after all, he shrugged. Later, Zhou Yan's mom showed up at my parents' house unannounced carrying a fruit basket in a burgundy cashmere coat, claiming she'd come to apologize. My mom refused to let her cross the threshold, recalling the moment's post and how they'd abandoned me when I thought I was dying. She sent the woman and her basket away, telling her never to disturb me again. That night my mom called to tell me everything, then casually asked when I'd bring Lu home to meet her, grilling me on whether he could cook. I laughed and dodged the question. Hashtag marriage. 3 months later, Lu and I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get our marriage certificate. No fancy wedding ceremony, just a quick registration trip. He wore a crumpled white shirt he'd wrinkled moving coffee bean shipments that morning, and I smoothed the collar for him before we took our marriage photo. We both grinned foolishly for the camera, and it turned out perfectly silly. We returned to the cafe afterward to find my mom, the pole dance instructor, Lin Mian, and all my friends waiting for a surprise celebration. A cake sat on the counter decorated with Lu's signature flipping cat drawing, baked by my mom after he taught her the design. I teared up hugging my mom as everyone cheered. That night, the instructor brought a broom as a makeshift pool and danced for the crowd, sending us all into hysterics. Late that night, Zhou Yan texted me once more after I blocked his previous numbers, a long message full of regret. I sent a screenshot to Lou. He read it, typed a single character reply, no, and hit send before I could stop him. I blocked the number permanently after that. We named our cafe 30 Grand Cafe, hanging Lou's freedom poster above the entrance with the flipping cat logo. Every morning we open up together. I host weekly open mic nights, and he brews my exclusive 3-part signature coffee only for me, and why past with Zhou Yan's just a distant footnote now. I'd hit rock bottom thinking I was dying, rebuilt myself from scratch, and finally found someone who doesn't demand I shrink myself to fit his family standards. All my 30,000 yuan adventure, the misdiagnosis twist, every painful memory led me straight to this quiet, warm life with Lou Beichin. IT really was a happy ending, all things considered.